Tricia Farin, a real estate agent with William Ravis in Newtown, Connecticut. And today I'm going to be showing you how to convert an extra bedroom that you don't need anymore to something that now is more useful. This is my daughter's room. She's recently moved out. She purchased her own house, and now I am left with what is left over from what she didn't need. A messy bed, a dresser, well, it's not really a dresser, it's more like a bookshelf, an end table that is really not in the best of shape, and pretty drab walls. What I'm looking to do is create an extra guest room space, but that's not just purposely used for a guest room, but I can use as an art room or photo area. So stay tuned as I transform this space into something that is more wow than, oh my God, wow. Today, I'm going to show you what I did to transform my daughter's room, who has since moved out, into a beautiful guest room and art space where I can have all my crafts. As you know, when I first started, the room was blue and it was accommodating for what she needed. Nothing that was really my taste. So I started using Pinterest to get some ideas. And one of the best things that I learned was an article that I read where she said, before you buy anything when you're renovating, walk around your house, because it's actually a treasure trove of all these cool things that you don't even see are in your home anymore, but you can actually use for your renovation. So I did that, and I was able to really get some things that I like anyway and was able to transform them to a new use. So here's a look at the room in its totality. Quite honestly, you would think that I purchased a lot of stuff, but I didn't. The bed was here. I walked around the house and I found the desk that I'm using for my sewing machine and art projects. All I did was I bought some wallpaper that's a peel and stick, and I used it for the back wall to make an accent wall, and I had an extra sheet, so I put it on the desk. Completely transformed the look of it. Now I will say, if you have little kids, you will probably want to put them away far from where you're working if you're putting up the peel and stick, because honestly, I don't think I've ever cursed so much in my life. They give you this tiny little thing that looks like a credit card, and it's plastic, to smooth out the bubbles, but I gotta say, it was a challenge. So I will tell you, if you end up putting the whole sheet on and you find a bubble after, don't feel like you have to pull it and reset it. You can actually poke little holes in it with a pin, and then you can use a little card to smooth it out, and that helps a lot. I'm not going to say it's a perfect job, but it'll do. Some other things that I actually purchased was a new ceiling fan. The one that was in the room before, when I turned it on, I thought my head was going to be decapitated. It was rattling and rickety and so loud. Plus it was hideous. It was white and old-fashioned, and it didn't look like the kind of vibe that I wanted to have in the room. So I ended up getting this really cool fan. It's on now and you can barely hear it. It has a you can change the lights so that it could go from a bright white, cool color white, all the way to a dim yellow kind of light, and everything in between. The fan itself has 6 speeds. It has a timer, and you also have a button where you can have it switch directions. So in the winter, it could push the heat down rather than blowing cold air on you. And it does come with a remote, so you can keep it on the wall, which is where I do it, or you can bring it to your bedside, which is awesome. Some other things that I did is I put the little shelves, they're floating shelves on either side of the bed. The vases that I used, I repurposed from what I already had, as well as the pampas I had from a different room, that I just took some of them and I created decor pieces there. But I did leave enough space so that if a guest is staying, they can charge their phones as there's plugs on either side, or put a book down, or whatever it is they're going to use it for. I had the bookshelf, the little shelf, which I put behind. All those books I had in my bookshelf. And I had the flowers, which were dried roses, candles that I have an abundance of that are sitting in a closet. And the other candle is actually the favor for my daughter's wedding. So only thing I purchased here was the bedspread and the shelves on this side. So far the fan and the curtains on the window. The paint. So the paint was interesting. Originally I figured I was just going to do the blue over because one of the walls was ripped. It had a lot of stains, so I was just going to touch it up. What I've come to realize is that we as homeowners keep paint forever. If we see that there's paint in a container and we know we've done it on used it for a room, we feel the need to save it for a matching purpose. But I could tell you that if the paint is older than, I'm going to say even 6 months, when you go to use that paint in the room, even if it's the paint that you started with, it doesn't look the same. The sun, age, wear and tear, whatever it is, changes the color of the paint on your wall. So when you take the paint from the can and put it on there, there's a slight discoloration. So here we are saving paint forever that's never going to be used again. I'm going to just put a pin in that. If you have paint that you want to get rid of, you can't just throw it out in the garbage. You do need to take it to the dump or to a hazard waste place. Each town is different, so you want to just find out what your town does. There are also some hardware stores that'll take it, so just call around. The pin that I put in, so I had a darker cream color that I used in my bedroom and a very light cream color that I had in the hallway. I had a quart of one and a half a gallon of the other. And I looked around this room and I was like, yep. And I mixed them, created a new color, and that's what we have here. So I didn't buy paint. I used 2 cans that were in my supply, and now I can go and dispose of those cans, so creating thus more space. So that was also fantastic. The only thing I needed to get was the rolling pin and other actual paint accessories because I didn't have good quality stuff that I wanted to use. But that was very inexpensive. So my daughter had a dresser that she wanted to throw away. She said that the knobs were broken, that the drawers didn't align right so they didn't close, and there were dirty marks all over the surface. So I went and I looked in our paint supply, which we have in abundance, and I found a little container of gel stain that I had used on another table. I had a ton of it left. So I took a sponge brush and I painted the whole top and any marks that were along the edges, and it looks beautiful. All I did, she's so silly, I tightened the knobs. They work. So I tightened all the knobs, I took the drawers out, realigned them, put them back, and now we have a dresser that is perfectly fine that she was going to throw away. That it literally took under 10 minutes, including the time it took me to find the paint, to fix this. So that was awesome. I absolutely love having the ability to have a desk dedicated to sewing or whatever craft that I want to do. Anytime that I wanted to do a craft before, to me it was always a hassle because I would have to get all my stuff out. And I didn't want to have to do that every time. So now I have my desk is ready, my sewing machine is ready, I have supplies in the drawer. Perfect. Now, speaking of supplies, the other area that I'm really super excited about is the closet. Now, this bedroom happens to have a very large walk-in closet, which is awesome. I used some organizers. She had this bookshelf on the side holding a TV. I thought it made better sense to put it in here. And now I have organizers and cubbies and space for my paint supplies. I do all sorts of different crafts, so I have items that maybe I'm going to use as part of another project, but I never really know where they are. I had my supplies in like 4 different locations in this house. Now everything is here. It's organized. I know what paints I have. I know what accessories I have. I can now create any kind of art project from what I have, or if I need to buy, I know that I'm not double buying, which is what was happening before. That seems to happen a lot to me when things are disorganized. The bedroom set itself is super comfy. There's a foam mattress pad underneath here. I made sure that the bedding would work for all seasons, and I love the color. It's very clean and crisp in here, and it's very inviting. I would want to stay here if I was a guest. While I'm no Picasso, I love to paint, and I like to paint abstracts. So I thought it would be fun to do the original artwork for this room. So I did contrasting pieces. I happen to already have the canvases. I did need to get metallic paint, but outside of that, I had everything that I needed. So I put a piece that is black and brown over here, and then on the other side of the wall, I have cream and brown. And I was kind of thinking that it would be kind of a yin and yang kind of a thing. This whole room to me is peace, so I was trying to achieve that as well. Some other things that I was able to find just by walking around the house was this television set. It used to live in our kitchen and was in a closet, and I was actually looking for something else when I stumbled upon it. I was like, that's going to work. So I grabbed that. I have a shelving that was here when my daughter had it, but I took the candles, which again were in a cabinet. These were flowers that dried up that my husband gave me. I had it in another shelf, so I decided to bring it in here. That's just a lantern that my daughter had when you put a candle in it and it glows. And this painting over here was another one that I had done for her room that worked perfectly because her room was blue and it matched. But when I kind of looked at it, I said, it's going to work in here too, and she didn't mind if I kept it. So this is another area. I also found craft books that were stuffed in the shelf. And I also have a diffuser in the back to pull out wonderful essential oils and have the room smell really good. It's amazing what you can find when you walk around your house. I absolutely love the way the room came out. It is embodied to the style that I have, to the feeling that I want when I'm working in a creative mode. I really do think that my guests are going to love it. It is attached to a bathroom, so they'll have complete privacy. And just the fact that it's quiet, it's pretty, it's clean, it smells so nice in here, and it's very, very functional. What I love most is I spent under $300 in order to get this whole room done. And, you know, it's remarkable what you can do when you repurpose things that you already have. When I read that article, I was like, yeah, because the first thing that I thought to do was start scrolling through Amazon and looking for things that I wanted to purchase. But honestly, I didn't need to purchase much. Bedspread, curtains, floating shelves, the fan, and the wallpaper. Everything else was already in my house, and I figured out a way to make it work. So I hope you enjoyed the reveal of a bedroom converted to a guest room art room. And I appreciate you watching this latest edition of Keeping the Real in Real Estate.